Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Sunday services at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. We are a loving and prospering community in the heart of Denver and online. We now conduct hybrid services at the historic Grant Avenue Community Center and Sacred Place, located at 216 South Grant Street, Denver, Colorado. All are welcomed here. A place, space, and face of love. We are a spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich our lives. We are grateful that you have blessed us with your presence. While online, we'd love to know you're watching with us. Feel free to leave a comment and let everyone appreciate you. With everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. CSL Denver wants you to know we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for personal prayer work. Our licensed spiritual practitioners' names and phone numbers are available on our website at csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, feel free to email it to info@csldenver.org. For your convenience, you'll find clickable links in the description of this broadcast. Rev Elzia, along with all our guest speakers, practitioners, service coordinators, and musical inspirations, want you to know how truly grateful we are that you are with us today. Thank you for your continued support and participation in our services, workshops, and events, as well as providing financial contributions to our center. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Sign up by visiting www.csldenver.org. We deliver services in a hybrid format where we meet in person at 216 South Grant Street. We will also continue to live stream all services on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday. Find us on our respective channels as well as on New Thought Media Network. Again, thank you for your precious attention. Now prepare for engaging enlightenment.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
I'm Rumi engineer, a practitioner at CSL Denver. And I invite you to center yourself for the invocation. Go to that spiritual place within and join me in consciousness as we come together and recognize the one power, one infinite presence called God, Spirit, Infinite Mind, Beloved. We recognize its presence everywhere in everyone, and we know that we are one with the Spirit ourselves. Indeed, we express all that Spirit is in our hearts and in our minds. And knowing that we are one with the Spirit, we know that it responds directly to us according to our thinking, through the conviction of our words, through our passions, and through our very lives. So today, I bless everything and everyone around us. I bless myself, my fellow practitioners, our minister, all who are present here, and others virtually. We hold it dear that we are connected here. We are one faith community expressing one humanity. And knowing this, we open our hearts and our minds to divine intelligence as it is directed through Reverend Elzia, our musicians, every volunteer who has shown up in and as love itself, and indeed this gathering of love, this congregation. So with gratitude for all that we are, all that we have, and all that we may become, we let it be so. We turn it over to the source, and together we say, and so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And our reading today, if I can get to it, it's from our Science of Mind magazine for this month, but it goes with the saying of my namesake, paradox is said to be a gateway to understanding the Tao, the source and pattern of all existence. It is likewise a doorway to embodying the science of mind, grounding us in truth, and even as the human pendulum swings wildly between competing moralities and apparent opposites. Lao Tzu reminds us, when people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. Paradox confounds the mind because it cannot be boxed into right or wrong, fixed or broken. To say we understand paradox is in itself paradoxical. It defies definition, offering only layers that deepen as we loosen our grip on certainty. This loosening is not indifference. It is the first pause before reaction, the space where identification with fixer, rescuer, or judge can soften. Often it feels as though this identity is dying, but it isn't. What is dying is our belief that reality depends on our control. The ultimate paradox may be this: from the vantage point of ego identification, little can truly be done. But from the still center of awareness, free of attachment and agenda, everything is already whole. Taoism teaches one does nothing and nothing is left undone. Right action arises effortlessly from presence, not force. This does not mean that we sit idly by in the face of suffering. It means we must enter the human field of chaos as presence itself, seeing perfection where the mind sees only fracture. In doing so, we love as the Absolute loves, quietly recalibrating every space we enter with wholeness. And Ernest Holmes says, we must remember we are not dealing with a field about which we can say, I do or do not like to believe thus and so. It is not a question of likes and dislikes. It is only a question of what is so and what is not so. And so it is. And now for some music.
Hello, CSL Denver. Susan Clark with you to provide the music for your service. The song I'm going to do was written by J.D. Martin and Jan Garrett, and they are from Colorado, so kind of up in your neck of the woods. This is called One Heart. There's a new world on the horizon made of light, not a stone calling out to all creation. You are not alone. Lions and lambs, saints and sinners, best your friends, enemies, women and men, losers and winners, they're all in you and me. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. Out in the cold, there are faces hidden by the wind and rain. Hold out your hand, someone will take it and bring you home again. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share
Good morning, everyone. Let's just start with the invocation. If you feel comfortable, and it's easy to close your eyes and take a deep breath. Infinite Spirit, the source of all there is. In this sacred moment, we open our hearts, our minds, and our very souls to the power and intelligence of all there is. We affirm that each heart gathered here today is receptive and ready to hear the voice of the divine calling us higher to a deeper truth of who and what we are. May this time remind us that we are the living expression of the one life. It speaks through us, as us, and is all around us. And so we open our heart to wisdom and to clarity and to a new possibility. We send forth blessings to each person that hears this message, knowing that this time is sacred, this moment is holy, and that these words are transformational nourishment for the soul. And so it is. Amen. And so, good morning and welcome to CSL Denver, a place, a space, and a face of love. A spiritual community teaching universal principles and applying ancient wisdom to our lives and the lives of others. Today is, I think it's an auspicious day, a very auspicious day. And I want to start the day by asking this question. What if I told you that everything you experience, your successes, your failures, your ups, your downs, your happiness, is fundamentally governed by something that you rarely look at? Something that you rarely look at. That's your beliefs. Most of us just take it for granted. We don't examine them. We don't look at it. You know, Ernest, when he developed this teaching, he says, these core beliefs, we believe in the oneness and eternality of life. We believe in, the unity of the one life. We believe that we can receive direct revelation, intuition from this one life. And we declare that, and we say that, and we believe that, I hope. But every system of thought, every ideology, every philosophy, every religion, every system that is here to develop mankind to a higher level has some kind of beliefs. And those beliefs, as we just said, really begin to create our world. As Ernest Helm said, as we think, so shall we remain. You hear that often because it is through the thoughts that we can change our world, that we can change our life, that we can change our circumstances. And ultimately what happens, these beliefs become the operating system of our life, just like, the computer. You got various systems, you got various operating systems, right? You got Linux operating system. Now, if you're not in computers, you might not even know what that is. But you got the Apple operating system, you got the Microsoft operating system, and these systems begin to dictate how we see the world and how we move about and shape our perception and possibilities. If you've ever worked on a Mac compared to a PC, there's a different perception of the information you get when you use those two different operating systems. So the question, what operating system are we using? What synchronicities and incongruence are we bringing into our lives because of the operating system that we're working from, our beliefs? Our beliefs. William James said this. William James said, to perceive the world differently, we must be willing to change our belief system. And by exploring our belief, we open the doorway to transformation by just looking at things differently. I woke up this morning, I did the exact same thing I did yesterday. And the same thing I did the day before that, and the day before that. And I did not question anything about it based on some belief that I had or still have. At least I'm a little more aware of it today, that I have to do these things when I wake up. Now, if some of y'all are like me, I have a real, I don't know if I want to give up this belief that I got to have a cup of coffee in the morning when I wake up. Now, I know a lot of y'all have that one, and it's good to a degree, but that idea, that belief begins to dictate my day. How many times have you woken up and didn't get that cup of coffee and said, boy, it's going to be a hard day? I did not get my morning cup of coffee. A belief system, a belief that for me to be effective, I got to have a cup of coffee or not have a cup of coffee. Some people like tea. Some people like warm milk. I mean, we all have these beliefs that create our preview of the world. But what are beliefs? Let's step back and examine what are beliefs. Beliefs are our deeply held assumptions about ourselves, about others, and the world. Deeply held assumptions. I could make some statements about assumptions, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to leave that and let your imagination run wild. But that's what beliefs are. And they are repeated thoughts that crystallize into patterns, like getting up in the morning and getting that cup of coffee. And when you try to break that pattern, we've all had those moments where we said, oh, I drank too much coffee. I'm gonna take a coffee fast. And the first time you do that, well, let me step back. The first time I did it, boy, I had headaches and all kinds of different things happened trying to change that belief system that I needed that cup of coffee. It's the darndest thing. I wouldn't recommend it unless you have some fortitude and a real sense of purpose about what you're trying to do, right? Because it can be challenging. Can be challenging. But when we allow these patterns to crystallize into our mind, then they become the filters through which we see the world. The filters that we see the world. There was a time, let me put it like this. There was a time when there were no color TVs. Some of y'all might remember this. And they came up with these little things, plastic paper, that you'd put over your TV to try to make it in the color. Some of y'all might remember that. I ain't gonna tell you whether I remember it or not. I read that in a story. But there was this actual thing that they sold in the store to put over your black and white TV to give you the semblance of that it was in color. Now imagine that being a belief system that you took and put over. It may have looked different, but the old belief system, the old black and white TV was still there. sending forth the same image, no matter what you thought you saw. Filters. Our beliefs become the filters that we see the world, that we see ourselves, that we begin to move forward and formulate these ideas about what success means, or what failure means, or what it means to be true or not true. Whatever it is, any aspect of life can be directly related, to your belief system, your filters. Now, these filters, they come from many different places, just like you could go to many different stores and get that little plastic to put on your TV. They come from your family. They come from your neighborhood. They come from the stories you see and the stories you tell yourself. There are many different ways that these filters become a part of our life. And so the question becomes this: how do I examine, work with, rearticulate my values, my beliefs? Anasi Nunn says this. She says it real succinctly. We do not see things as they are. We see things as we are. We see things as we are. You've heard me say time and time again, two people could be standing in the exact same location. I mean, just touching each other. And the rain is pouring down. One person takes a sigh of relief. The other one takes an exclamation of just pure unhappiness. The exact same rain, relatively in the exact same place. But the question becomes, what are your beliefs about that rain, or about any situation for that matter? Because once we can begin to examine that, we can change it. We can change it. Thus, the mind sees only what the mind is prepared to comprehend. The mind sees only what we are prepared to comprehend. Robert Bertram said this: an old belief is like an old shoe. We so value its comfort that we fail to notice the hole in the shoe. Just think about that. An old belief is like an old shoe. We so value the comfort of the shoe that we fail to notice the hole in it. How many of y'all have beliefs that got gigantic holes in it? But we feel so comfortable that we just keep on keeping on. Just keep on keeping on. And then the ironic part of it is, when we get ourselves in a situation where I step into a puddle of water with this old shoe and my sock get wet, now I'm like, how did that happen? What I got good shoes on, but we're not aware of the hole because it's comfortable. It's comfortable to stay in that space where we don't have to grow, we don't have to question, we don't have to be challenged. But that's what life is about. Every aspect of life is a challenging, not in a negative way, to grow, to move, to expand. If we had all stayed in the embryo stage that we first were conceived in, none of us would be here. Let's be clear about that. It was only through the challenge of going from one stage of life to another that allowed us to be here today. Through the grace and blessings of the holy mind of God. Holy mind, seeing the whole process from embryo to where you are right now, not in segmented parts, but a wholeness. And if our belief system is holy, not holy as in HOLY, we have a problem. We limit ourselves. We limit others. We judge others. We move in a way of life that is not conducive to what life is. And that is, as Ernest said, the continuation of a divine mind forever. Forever. Now, I can't comprehend what forever is. I'm going to be honest. But I know it's not this. I know it goes beyond this. And if we believe that, then if we put our belief systems in alignment with that, then we have infinite possibilities to work from. These holes are like invisible blind spots in our life. And sometimes some of y'all might remember this, that, you know, you used to get a box of cereal and you get little prizes in the cereal. And there, you know, Dad, I want that box right there. No, I ain't getting you that box, boy. That's a waste of money. But eventually I'd convince him and I'd get the little prize. They had the little secret glasses in one of them. And if you put them on and you put some lemon juice, and it had all kind of ways to do it, you could see some secret messages, invisible messages as they were. Well, that's what we need today. We need to go buy some cereal and get them invisible glasses and see what the invisible holes and beliefs we have that run our lives. Because my life is okay. I'm grateful for that, but could it be better? Yes, it could. Could I do something to make it better? Yes, I can. And that's why today we're looking at this whole thing about exploring your beliefs. Why am I not in a position that I thought I would be, or I wanted to be, or I thought I was doing the right things to get there? Why? These beliefs can either power us or limit us. Power us or limit us. Let me tell you a story. Some of you may have heard this story. There was a reporter, and he reported on events, fairs and circuses and these kinds of things to the community to get people engaged. And so one day he went to a circus, big circus came to town, and he was just mesmerized by these gigantic elephants. Now, if you've ever seen an elephant, a full-grown elephant, even a baby, but definitely a full-grown elephant, when you see them, you have all kinds of thoughts of power and presence and all these things that are represented by the stability and strength of an elephant. And so the guy was looking around and he was, you know, taking all the sightseeings to write his story. And he noticed that they had 4 or 5 elephants in a row. They're all tied up with a little rope to their foot. And he's sitting there thinking to himself, why are they just standing? Because there was no enclosure. There was just a little rope tied to the foot. And he's thinking, that elephant could knock down 2 or 3 houses if they started running. Why are they stuck standing there with that one little rope tied around their foot? So he goes and finds the ringmaster and says, you know, what's the magic of keeping these elephants in place with that little rope? And he said, oh, yeah. Well, when that elephant is a baby, we tie that rope around his foot to keep him in place. And at that point, he's not strong enough to break that rope. And he tries and he tries. And sooner or later, he has a belief system that if that rope is around his foot, he can't move. He can't break it. And that's our story. Our story is that we have been tied up with some little ropes of belief that happened way back when, and we've not developed the courage, the insight, the intuition to break them. And so we stay stuck in our old belief systems. We stay stuck in these ideas and ways of being that do not serve us. They no longer serve us. And so that's why it's important for us to check these belief systems out. How many of you are tied by a little rope of belief that happened when you was 8 years old? Or happened when you went to school and the kids picked at you? How many? I know I got a truckload. You're too short. You're too this. You talk too much. You do thousands of them that we see or not see, that we recognize or do not recognize. These little ropes of beliefs that hold us locked in a place that keep us from being what God has intended for us when we were created. Because we know that there are no two people on this planet that are alike, even identical twins. They've done enough studies that indicate, even although they look alike, they have the same mannerisms and everything, they are not alike. There's certain things about them, there's certain proclivities about them that make them individual, unique expressions of God, of the divine, of the Holy Spirit. That this thing that is infinite goes by so many different names because there's so many people trying to make a relationship with it. And then we begin to believe that the name that I gave it is the only name, which caused confusion, which caused separation. We can call air anything we want until you don't have none, and you'll call it anything you need to call it to make sure you get some more. That's what this thing called God is, and that's what this thing about belief is how do we individually connect with the power of all there is beyond limiting beliefs? How often do you have beliefs about, I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough? Those are limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs that we need to move. So this story kind of mirrors who we are. We're elephants tied by little bitty ropes that we can break at any moment in time. Only thing we have to do is wake up. Wake up to that perception. Wake up to that idea. Wake up to the understanding that God did not put us here to be tied down by a little bitty rope. God is disappointed in us. I gave you all the power, all the presence that I have. I made you in my image, and you're going to let a little bitty rope keep you locked down in small-minded thinking. Jesus said, believe. And what happens when you believe? It happens. You got to believe it. Beliefs are different from believing. Because when I'm believing in a truth. I'm believing in something that I know is so. But a belief, I used to believe that, Santa Claus was down my chimney. I didn't even have a chimney. There was no chimney in my house, but I believed that Santa Claus was coming down that chimney. So the idea is this. First of all, this is why we have to believe. I have to examine our beliefs. And so I want to give us 3 tools to explore this whole idea of beliefs so that they can become this transformational idea that moves us to where we need to be. Now, the first thing is something that you, in various different ways, you'll hear me say. The first thing is investigation. Where did my beliefs come from? We have to investigate life. We have to investigate who and what we are, where we come from. Like there's a new show on TV called Watson. It's a medical program, and I forget the actor's name. The actor's name, Morris Chestnut, plays a doctor, and he was Sherlock Holmes's right-hand man. And so he looks at the field of medicine as an investigation. When they have these strange cases of illnesses or disease, he comes in with the mind of an investigator, but the skills of a doctor. So he's coming in looking to see, was this something that inherited? Was it something that was taught? Was it something that we just walked into? The same thing with our lives. We have to examine, where did our belief systems come from? Where did they come from? And then we have to be like Watson. I can fix that. I'm a doctor with many skills. I understand the genome and the DNA, and I can fix this. But the first thing I have to do is I have to understand what I'm dealing with. I have to ask the question. I have to investigate my belief system. I got to understand that. And once we have got this idea of what we're dealing with, if you've ever watched any of their shows, they have a whiteboard. And there's like 4 other doctors, understudies that work with them. And they start writing possibilities on the board. Right? And then what do? They attack them. Is that? No, well, no, can't be that one. They cross that one out. And they keep investigating and looking at the symptoms until they get to something that is in the vicinity, and then they go deep. Understanding that some of my ideas may be faulty. The first idea, I thought they had ABC, but it turned out to be something else. Once that happens, we are free. Why? Because we are not limited by what we can see. They got 4 other doctors in the room. You got other aspects of yourself, your intuition, your feelings, your emotions, all part of you that give you different information about your belief. You ever had a belief about something and your whole body just froze up? Because you just knew every ounce of your being that this ain't right. Nobody had to say anything. When you said it or you saw it or you thought it, your body said, oh, wait a minute. I don't think that's a good idea. But just like that rope, we couldn't break through. We said, oh, but yeah, everybody believes that or whatever. So the first thing we have to do is investigate why we believe what we believe. And where did that belief come from? The second thing, another idea that we always talk about, observation. Investigation and observation go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. It's like the chicken or the egg. Was I investigating first and then I observed, or was I observing and then investigating? Because when I'm observing, I get a chance to realize that these ideas create something. If I believe a certain way, I begin to create an environment or a behavior or an attitude that's aligned with those beliefs. If you don't believe it, observe yourself. Just observe yourself. Go to the grocery store when the line is too long and you just want to get in there and get out. You're like, golly, I got to go home and make this cake, or I got to go home and fix this dinner. Observe what happens to you, how you look at everybody. They don't know how to scan the thing on the what is the matter with them? Just observe yourself and then think about what belief is driving that. Why am I so impatient? I've gotten there many times and couldn't get this thing to scan for whatever reason. Observe, ask yourself, what emotions, relationships, or outcomes am I looking for? Right? What is creating that? And look at them and understand, do they foster connection or separation? What do they do? What do these believe? When you're observing them, look at what they're creating. Because when you do, you'll find some things that we can go in and eradicate or change or get a different perspective on. How many times, I know I'm going to be the first to raise my hand, of the judgment statements and the blaming I've done based on the belief system. How many times? Now, it's time to change them. It's time to be more aware. It's time to investigate why I feel that way. Oh, I feel that way because my dad feel that way. You all know the story about the oven and the turkey or the ham. It's come in many different ways and cut in half. That's a belief system that came down. And when the young lady goes to ask her grandma, I said, well, we cut the thing in half because we didn't have a pan big enough to put the turkey in. Now, I got a belief that I got to cut the turkey or the chicken or the ham to put it in when I can just get a bigger pan and put the thing in now. Observe, investigate. And then the last thing that we have to do, we have to reshape. We have to reshape our belief system. And we do that by evidence. We do that by evidence, which means if I believe I can put my hand in the fire and don't get burned, and every time I stick my hand in the fire, I get burned, I need to fix that belief system. Socrates says this: the unexamined life is not worth living. Because you keep sticking your hand in that fire, and eventually you'll be burnt up. No investigation, no observation. You just on autopilot. On autopilot. And once we understand that, we can begin to look at this thing that Gandhi said. Gandhi said this: your belief becomes your thoughts. Your thoughts becomes your words. Your words become your actions. Your actions becomes your habits. Your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. Just examine it. Just observe it. We can change your thinking and change your life is what this teaching advocates. Pronto number one. Change your thinking and change your life. Are you willing? Are you willing to revise your belief system to see something different? Bernard Shaw says this. Bernard Shaw says, those who cannot change their mind cannot change anything. If you can't change your mind, you can't change anything. There's another passage that he says, there are people who go out and look for certain situations that are conducive for this idea of examining your beliefs. And he says, if they can't find them, they create them. If you can't find a situation that's going to give you more life, that's going to allow you to examine yourself, then go create it. We are created in the image of God, that is the ultimate creator. The ultimate creator. You don't believe me? Trees, stars, galaxies, aurora borealis that showed all the way down in Florida last week. ultimate creator. So if you can't find the situations that's going to cause us to grow, then we got to go create them. And that's what we look to do in community. It's to create an environment where we can all grow, where we can challenge our beliefs, not in a blaming way, but in a way that is loving and looking to build a oneness, which is what this whole month's theme is. We're grateful for it all because it allows us to grow. It keeps us moving in that direction. And so as we close, we think about this idea of what love is, what grace is, what God is, and they're all based on beliefs. So let us go forth and examine our beliefs and be like Watson, that investigative doctor looking to heal our very soul. And so as we just take this moment to go within, we allow ourselves to know that we are the ones that we have been waiting for. Nobody can change our beliefs but us. And so we'll rely on that connection to the one life to guide us, to hold us, to mold us, and to move us in the direction of our highest calling. So we give thanks for this moment and this idea. And we leave it to the law that is always working. And so we release it, we let it go, and we know that it is so. And so it is. Amen. So it is. Amen. And so I have a call to action. It'll be on the website. It's a little wordy, but I think, huh? No, I'm gonna put a document on the website. It's gonna be a document on the website. But this I think is powerful, and I'm just gonna read it. This week, commit to exploring your beliefs by focusing on conscious observation and practical replacement. First, keep a catch-it list or catch-it log for the first 3 days, noticing situations where you experience strong negative emotions or self-sabotage, and write down the underlying limiting thoughts. Next, choose your most frequent limiting belief and put it under the Socrates investigation idea. Rigorously test it. Is it factual or not? Finally, replace the challenging belief with an empowering belief and look at the if-then action of what happens when I move this change. Now, I know that's a lot, and I apologize. So they're going to have a whole document on the website that you can go and download and get. So, and as we do this week, this is the affirmation to hold us tight. This affirmation says, I am free to release outdated beliefs. I choose beliefs that empower, uplift, and reveal the divine within me. And so it is. And so it's that sacred time of giving. So if you just look across the bottom of the screen, you'll see the many different ways you can give, whether it's online, in person, or sending check or money order to the P.O. box. However you do, please do. And to anchor this law of circulation, we place our hand on our heart and repeat this affirmation. This perfect gift is spirit informed, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Amen. And so it is. Amen. And so I'm going to bring Alice up to give us our announcements and we'll close out. Thank you.
We still have a couple of our November, December Science Mind magazines. If you have not purchased any and want some, Rumi's reading this morning was from that, this month's magazine. Today, right after service, we have our Divine Dialogue. So once we're all done, have some of Rumi's delicious cake that he brought and some coffee, and we'll circle up and share our thoughts about the service or have a discussion with Elzia about his talk. And next week is First Turkey. Yay! So it's instead of our regular service, everybody chooses to bring a dish, a friend, whatever, and just circle up and we'll sit around the table and we'll share some food. And like I said last week, our founding minister, Reverend Jim Chandler, started First Turkey as a celebration of community. And as Reverend Jim liked to remind us, it's the first turkey dinner of the season. In case you don't know, Jim began the Center for Spiritual Living Denver in the mid-1990s as an urban spiritual community where everyone was welcome with open hearts and arms. And 30 years later, everyone is still welcome with open arms and hearts, with still welcome. Let's see, and the fab and fun tradition of First Turkey continues. You won't want to miss it. So like I said, bring yourself, bring a friend, bring a dish to share, and we'll just have a wonderful time and think about all of the things in our lives that we are grateful for. Curiosity Corner, we have our bargain basement. I brought some new books today for the regular table, so please take a look and see if there's anything that is insisting to go home with you. We are so blessed to have New Thought Media Network and Diego as our Sunday service producer. He's just so awesome. We really love Diego. And we invite you to go to www.ntmedia.org and check out what they have. They have over 40 hours of weekly broadcast programs. So let's close out with Karen Drucker, and we are just so blessed with everybody who chooses to support CSL Denver in time, treasure, and talent. So we love you, and
hey, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. For all that I have, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. Hey, oh yeah, grateful. I just say I am so grateful every day for all I have. Every day. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all I have. Every day I say it. Grateful. How I'm grateful. Every day. Oh yeah. I am so grateful. Oh yeah. So grateful. 'Cause I accept and I receive. I am so grateful. Oh yes, I am. I am so grateful. Hey, grateful. I just come up.